Breaking news: a Baltimore student shot and killed this afternoon at a gas station. It comes just a day after another teen was shot at a different gas station. Aberdeen police say they solved a string of car thefts. The young people arrested and charged tonight.
These allegations and these indictments are unacceptable for anyone in our city, but especially for law enforcement officers.
2 Baltimore City officers facing criminal charges tonight, the crimes they're accused of committing.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Fox 45 News at 6 starts right now with the exclusive Fox Track Your Baltimore Minute.
Massive mounds of cardboard boxes littering the curbs and one blue bin after another stuffed to the brim.
This is disgraceful.
Fed up with the pileup of garbage at a public hearing Thursday, Councilman Zeke Cohen asking exactly how many crews and trucks DPW needs to get recycling back on track.
I just want to understand, how many crews do we need to get back to weekly recycling?
But DPW's response?
As soon as we have that information, we'll provide it back to the council.
Remained the same.
This video shows a 16-year-old boy just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon across the street from Reach Partnership School, shot. Less than 30 seconds later, Baltimore police showing up. But the shooting, emblematic of the trend in Baltimore City.
The man, somebody's gonna have to do something about this.
The latest teenage victim has non-life-threatening injuries, but 7 other teens this year, students in the city, did not survive.
Now, a Fox 45 News alert in 3, 2, 1.
It's been a violent day in Baltimore. 3 people have been shot, 2 of them killed, and 1 is a city school student. That shooting was reported just before 10 o'clock at a gas station in Northeast Baltimore. This afternoon, police confirmed the victim is a student at Achievement Academy. The crime scene is behind the school. Now, we have no word of a suspect at this time or what led to the shooting. That student is now the 7th Baltimore student killed this year. Last week, 16-year-old Isaiah Carter was shot and killed during school time near Patterson High School. And yesterday afternoon, we told you about a 16-year-old who was shot at a gas station in Northeast Baltimore. That shooting was captured on surveillance video. That crime scene also less than a mile from a school. That teen is expected to survive in that case. Now, this year, both homicide and non-fatal shootings in Baltimore are down. However, 52 people have been killed. Another 94 people have been shot and survived. Mary?
Thank you. In a statement, Mayor Scott says he is deeply disturbed about the increasing trend of young people resolving their conflicts with guns. He says city and school leaders are taking new steps, like launching a violence intervention program in 3 schools. The mayor also pointed out to that BPD has seized 398 guns this year already. Well, time is ticking for lawmakers in Annapolis to act on crime legislation. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost with talk on how to respond to young people and crime.
Another Baltimore City public school student shot on Wednesday. Mayor Brandon Scott says he's deeply disturbed by this growing trend of juvenile crime. But in Annapolis, the trend of being softer on young people getting involved in violence seems to continue. This video shows a 16-year-old boy just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon across the street from Reach Partnership School, shot. Less than 30 seconds later, Baltimore police showing up. But the shooting, emblematic of the trend in Baltimore City.
The man, somebody's gonna have to do something about this.
The latest teenage victim has non-life-threatening injuries, but 7 other teens this year, students in the city, did not survive. 17-year-old Deja Garrison killed on the first day of 2023. Deontay Dorsey, 16 years old, gunned down across the street from Edmondson High. 15-year-old LaRon Henderson killed. Andre Marino Jr., 16 years old, shot and killed too. 17-year-old Trayshawn Harmon killed in Towson. Isaiah Carter, 16 years old, gunned down at the park behind his high school. And most recently, an Achievement Academy student killed at a nearby gas station. Baltimoreans frustrated.
I'm stunned. I'm not surprised, but I'm stunned. You can't even go to school these days.
In Annapolis, lawmakers grappling with the rise of juvenile crime, but how to handle it seems to be split along party lines. Democrats pushing for more wraparound services, an attempt to prevent anyone younger than 25 from being charged with felony murder, and staying in line with current law backed by Baltimore City Senator Jill Carter, preventing anyone 13 years old or younger from being charged with a crime. Carter admitting there have been issues with the plan, but says programs and services are available to help kids change their way of life.
So they cannot enter into an entire life of criminality, and they can understand the consequences for their actions.
But is that happening right now with that law?
So I can't say, because it only came into place recently, right? So, I mean, I think the hope is that over time it's going to be better.
Republicans pushing for a bigger crackdown, including a repeal of Carter's legislation. Also backing the Violent Firearms Offender Act, again, to implement tougher penalties for repeat gun offenders. That plan, not likely to pass.
Not only have we not addressed crime, but we've actually taken steps in the opposite way.
What pieces of legislation do you think should be passed in these final weeks that could address the growing trend of young people addressing their conflicts using handguns?
Depends on who the shooters are.
House Minority Leader Jason Buckles says if the suspects are younger than 13, there's not much political will in Annapolis to do more, laying most of the blame at the feet of former Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby.
I think there's a function where some of those repeat violent career offenders keep popping up because of the prior policies of the city state's attorney.
70% of Baltimore voters rejecting Mosby and her policies. And while change is occurring in the city state's attorney's office, in Annapolis, plans to craft legislative change to curb juvenile crime often hit roadblocks, while people living in the communities impacted by the violence,
when is it going to stop,
are waiting for plans to become reality. And their reality to result in safer neighborhoods. While the juvenile crime debate continues, the path for a bill backed by City State's Attorney Ivan Bates seeking to implement tougher penalties for certain gun crimes remains uncertain among lawmakers in Annapolis. In Baltimore, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Republican lawmakers continue to speak out against Senate Bill 1. It is a bill that would prohibit the wearing, carrying, or transporting a firearm within 100 feet of public places. The bill has passed the Senate as now in the House. Republicans argue the bill violates the Second Amendment right of legal gun owners and that it does nothing to reduce gun violence.
We've talked about a number of pieces of anti-crime legislation that would, again, put away repeat violent firearm offenders. We've seen none of those move.
The bill has been considered unconstitutional by opponents, and similar laws have led to lawsuits in other states. One law enforcement analyst weighs in.
It makes absolutely no sense to allow someone to carry a gun and then tell them they can't carry a gun essentially anywhere but inside their house or their front yard.
Fox 45 News is helping to make your voice heard. Scan the QR code right there on your screen. It'll take you to our website where we put together a list of names and phone numbers for your state senators and delegates, including Senate President Bill Ferguson and House Speaker Adrian Jones. Taking a look now at the Fox box. Top left, a deadly overnight fire in North Baltimore. Police say one person died in this row home near Cameron Village. Top right, a fiery head-on crash in Prince George's County between a school bus and another car this morning. 5 elementary students were on the bus, but they were not injured. The bus driver is in the hospital. The driver of the other car fled the scene. Bottom left, Aberdeen police announced multiple arrests related to a string of car thefts. A 19-year-old, 22-year-old, and 2 juvenile accomplices are facing charges. Police believe the thefts are related to the Kia Boys TikTok challenge. That's been blamed for a surge in Hyundai and Kia thefts. Bottom right, the federal manhunt for former Governor Larry Hogan's ex-chief of staff, Roy McGrath, continues. On Monday, he failed to show up for his fraud federal trial in Baltimore. The FBI has searched his Florida home. His wife and an attorney say they are concerned about him. We'll be the first to know about breaking news by signing up for News on the Go. Go to foxbaltimore.com, click on Mobile Alert Sign Up under the Station tab. Lawmakers are debating the governor's budget. In it, Governor Wes Moore plans to cut funding for the Boost program. Boost provides scholarships to low-income families to put students in non-public schools. More than 3,000 students use this funding. If the House cuts are moving forward, the House cuts are moving forward. In the Senate, fully funding the program is gaining bipartisan support, and senators say they remain hopeful the funding cuts will not move forward.
We can do a lot through the budget. We can make some legislative type changes.
Here we are, 9 weeks, 10 weeks into session, and we can't just get a simple agreement that we're going to fund the Boost program at the levels that it's been traditionally funded.
I just think that, having a portfolio of options in the state for making sure that everybody can maximize their potential is something that we can find a way to do.
Are you open to codifying Boost?
I think we'll see. It's going to be up to the Budget Committee and the Senate overall. There's conversations. I think we spent a lot of time on this differential. We spent a lot of energy on what is not a lot of money in comparison to our $62 billion budget. And so I think, if there's a way that we can just come to some level of agreement and compromise across the board, I think that would be good for everyone.
Well, some claim the governor is cutting funding because of influence from the teachers' unions. The governor denies those claims. 2 Baltimore officers indicted, what they're accused of doing.
And get a load of this. Sunsets are getting later and later today at 7:14. For the first of spring, 7:18 on Monday, and it looks like it's past 8 o'clock by the time we hit May. I'm going to let you know if our temperatures get warmer so we can enjoy that sun. My Weather Authority forecast.
And the Maryland Terps are making us so proud tonight. The strong kickoff at this year's NCAA tournament.
Fox 45 News, winner of 17 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined. Now, a Fox 45 News alert in 3, 2, 1.
The Baltimore City State's attorney says 2 Baltimore police officers have been indicted. One officer is accused of sexual misconduct against another officer on duty. His name is Officer Walter Wilson. That incident happened while on the job last October.
This incident was alleged to have been captured on Officer Wilson's body camera.
Well, Ivan Bates, the city state's attorney, says that officer was suspended from the force yesterday. The other indictment is against Sergeant Larry Worsley. According to court documents, while off duty, he was involved in an assault at a bar in West Baltimore 2 weeks ago. Witnesses say he was intoxicated and became combative when asked to leave. Court documents show that he was seen assaulting a woman and even showing a weapon. Ivan Bates says that he spoke with the police commissioner yesterday before announcing these indictments. Mary?
Kai, thank you. Here's our look at today's top trending stories. Number 1, Wall Street banks joining forces to offer First Republic Bank a $30 billion rescue package. According to the Associated Press, worries are growing that the San Francisco-based bank is the next to fail. That would follow the downfall of Silicon Valley and Signature banks. Sources say JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs are pulling together the money along with a handful of other banks. First Republic serves a similar clientele as Silicon Valley, and the bank has experienced a large number of withdrawals. In Washington today, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said our banking system is safe and sound.
Americans can feel confident that their deposits will be there when they need them. This week's actions demonstrate our resolute commitment to ensure that our financial system remains strong and that depositors' savings remain safe.
She is referring to the extraordinary actions the U.S. government took recently to backstop insured and uninsured depositors at Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Number 2, the Pentagon defends its decision to declassify video footage of a Russian fighter jet downing a U.S. drone, saying it prevented Russia from framing the incident.
It's not unusual for us to release imagery of unsafe, unprofessional incidents. We've done that in other situations. And so particularly in this case, given the reckless and dangerous behavior, and to demonstrate publicly what type of actions the Russians had taken, we felt that it was important to provide this imagery.
A Pentagon spokesperson says Russia is likely trying to recover debris from the U.S. drone it down Tuesday, but he says it's very unlikely Russian personnel can recover anything useful. That's because U.S. officials took steps to protect information stored on the drone. It also crashed in very deep water. Number 3, in Washington, the Senate today advanced a bill that aims to end 2 decades-old war authorizations. With 68 votes to 27, the measure was largely bipartisan. 19 Republicans joining all Democrats and independents in voting yes. The White House also threw its support behind the legislation, which would repeal the 2002 measure that greenlighted the invasion of Iraq, as well as the 1991 authorization for the first Gulf War. Opponents argue the authorizations allow the president and Pentagon to move quickly against enemies. But Senator Tim Kaine says presidents should have to come to Congress to start wars.
But if there's authorizations on the books that are outdated, a president can try to find one and torture its meaning and say, oh, look, Congress already authorized war. I don't need to come for a new debate, a new vote, where the American public can see what's at stake and watch their elected representatives declare yes or no and be accountable for the vote.
A final vote on the bill is expected early next week, around the 20th anniversary of the war in Iraq.
On the Fox Triplecast, a gorgeous afternoon and evening underway. HD radar showing rain and snow way up into portions of Canada and way west into Michigan. That's signs of our next weather maker. And that is going to be moving in, unfortunately, in time for St. Patrick's Day. For now, though, enjoying the sunshine. Made it to 66 for a high. My one task cam still showing that sun with mostly sunny skies on the Towson traffic oval here. Any travels this evening should be unimpeded by any rain or anything like that. Winds variable at 6, humidity 10%, and dew point bone dry at 7 degrees. It was dry today, so the high temperatures getting into the mid-60s, but lows in the low 30s earlier on this morning. Did stay a little bit cooler right near the rim of the bay with some cooler water temperatures in the Chesapeake in the mid-40s. Temperatures all running about 10 to 20 degrees warmer than they were just 24 hours ago. Signs of our next weather maker moving in. Lots of rain out to our west, and that rain is going to move east, taking the place of this nice weather that we've seen all day long. But these showers, fortunately for us, for St. Patrick's Day plans, they're going to weaken as they get here, but there still could be some spot showers for Friday. We're tracking the cold behind it, too. You might have seen there was some snow behind the system. We're not going to see snow, but a big chill down as we head into the weekend as colder air breaks out. Now, end of March, beginning of April, a little bit cooler than average, but it looks like we pop back to this just dropped today for the extended outlook into spring and early summer, above average temperatures once again. So you won't miss it too long. All right, overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning, there's a stray shower, but most of our St. Patrick's Day, I think, is just shrouded in clouds. There are some spot showers coming during the afternoon into the evening, so keep that in mind for any plans. You may want to have an umbrella handy. Then those clear out, and it's chillier to work into the beginning of the weekend. 38 becoming mostly cloudy tonight. Tomorrow, 63, some spotty, mainly afternoon showers. I'm going to let you know when things are going to drop only into the 40s for highs and how long that lasts in my exclusive 10-day forecast.
Lawmakers in Washington push to label Mexican drug cartels as terror groups after the killing of Americans. I'm Scott Thuman in Washington with what's being done here on Capitol Hill coming up.
Tonight, policymakers in Washington are wondering what to do about Mexico. The discussions more heated after drug cartels recently admitted to the killing of American medical tourists. So should the United States call the cartels terror groups and go after them more aggressively? Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman explains.
It is not just the crush of migrants at the southern border that have policymakers in Washington searching for answers. It is crime, like the cartel kidnapping of 4 Americans, 2 of whom died after they crossed into Mexico for medical procedures, all part of a growing concern.
When you see some of the violence that has happened in Mexico over the years, it's nothing short of terrorism.
On Wednesday, during a congressional hearing at the border, officials acknowledged they're not in complete control.
That's the definition of operational control. Based upon the definition you have, sir, up there, no.
Many questioning if it's time to label Mexican drug cartels as foreign terror organizations. It's a perennial debate. For years, lawmakers have sent letters to both Presidents Biden and Trump requesting that move. Last week, 2 Republican senators unveiled a bill to do just that, add resources to pursue and prosecute cartels, even freeze assets. But it could also worsen relations with Mexico, one of America's top two-way trading partners at more than $600 billion in annual goods.
Designating these cartels as FTOs would not grant us any additional authorities that we don't really have at this time.
The cartels reach inside the U.S., another worry in Washington. This map from the DEA highlights areas across the country it says cartels have a significant influence on distribution of drugs like fentanyl, heroin, and cocaine. Yet Mexico's president says the blame should be widespread, pointing out American residents are often the ones selling the drugs inside the U.S., but said critics don't talk enough about that. The debate now getting much louder. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
All right, your exclusive 10-day forecast. St. Patrick's Day for tomorrow, 63. Some spot showers, especially during the afternoon. Should not be a rain out. That tapers off tomorrow night. 53, blustery, cooler day for Saturday, Sunday. Only highs in the 40s with lows in the 20s. Warms up for the beginning of spring a little bit. 55 on Monday. And then near 60 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday into the 60s, but unsettled by Friday of next week. Saturday could see some showers, and then Sunday near 60, which is about seasonable.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, finally tonight, the madness is here, and the Maryland Terps are kicking off this year's NCAA tournament on a very strong note. Maryland and West Virginia facing off this afternoon. Despite a sluggish first half for the Terps, they finished stronger in the game. Baltimore's own Julian Reese, a St. Francis alum, led the way with 17 points, 9 boards, and 3 blocks as Maryland moves on to the second round.
I feel like, as I said before, we did a good job of silencing the noise and blocking out the noise and just focusing on the main goal and not really focusing on things that people were saying about us or who they have winning or whatever.
Superstars, Julian and Angel Reese. Well, Maryland will likely face overall #1 seed Alabama in the second round. I think that has already happened. That's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud's next. We'll see you back here tonight at 10.